Shabbat everyone. Well, whether you are online, my name is Rabbi Sarah Zober, and I'm here by myself because it's Rabbi Benjamin Zober's birthday and the 30th anniversary of his bar mitzvah. So now we all know how old he is, yeah. And so tonight he will be coming up to chant Torah for us and to do the Aliyah, but I am going to be I am giving him the night partially off, but I am making him chant Torah, haha. If you are online, please be sure to go to sinaireno.org/live and pick up our virtual Siddur. It'll have all of the prayers and everything that you'll need for tonight's service. If you are here in person, you can go there too if you have a device and prefer to use it. Or we will be using Siddur Mishkan Tefillah, and I will try my best to navigate up through all of the patrons that we might experience tonight. It's my pleasure at this moment to, we're going to do a reading at the bottom of page 3 together. Help me perfect my ways of loving and caring. Inspire me to make myself whole so that I may honor your name and create a world of justice and peace. It's my pleasure to invite up Natalie Sarah to light our Shabbat candles. If you'd like to follow along with Natalie, you can follow along on page 2. They're inside the little house. Yep. And just flip the top over. There's your striker.
Oh.
That's courtesy of Rabbi Myra. Thank you. Yeah, we were all tired of doing this 8 times.
Yay.
And it's supposed to last forever.
Perfect. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehazikner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Natalie. We turn to page 11, and we're going to begin to warm up a bit for Shabbat, which is needed on this cold night, with Ki Eshmara Shabbat. Ki Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmereni, Ki Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmereni, Oti le'omead Beino uveini, Oti le'omead Beino uveini, Ki Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmereni, Eshmara Shabbat El Yishmareni Oti Leomeyad Beno Ubeni Oti Leomeyad Beno Ubeni. We turn to the next page, page 12. And our psalm for Shabbat this evening, we're going to sing together Psalm 95, L'chun Eranana. L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'Adonai. L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, B'chadma P'nav B'todai. Helps if you're on the right line. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, B'svirot Naria Lo. L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'Adonai. 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 Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, B'chadma P'nav B'todai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, B'smirot Naria Lo. L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'chun Eranana, L'Adonai. 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 We turn together to page 20. And we'll sing together L'chadoi, our piyut, our liturgical poem, welcoming the Sabbath bride into our midst. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And on the 9th and final verse, if you are able, please rise and you can bow Boi Kala, and invite the Sabbath bride into our midst. Whoop, that's not the right capo. Here we go. That would be really low. Lechadori likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadori likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'divorech ad hishmianu, El hameyuchad Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet b'li tehila. Lechadori likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadori likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. לקראת שבת לכו ונחכים מכל הברכה מראש מקדם נסוך הסוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה וחדודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה וחדודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי שידברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה וחדודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה וחדודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה. We all rise. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה וחדודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה וחדודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקמלה. You may be seated. We turn together to page 26 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah ve'almad yivrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyom echon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael bagala uvizman kariv v'meru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olam me'amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitador v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei tekudesha brichu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma ve'yimeru amen. Turn to page 28 and we all rise in body or in spirit for the Baruch Hu. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam HaMevorach Le'olam We turn to page 31 together. And we read together. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Noah, you want to come up and help me with the Shema? You coming up?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. It is my pleasure to invite Noah Friedman to assist me with the Shema, which can be found on page 34. Do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
Shema,
Yes.
yes, what? El Adonai, and he no Adonai, and will watching to what my heart to Adonai, but his
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Thank you, Noah. Thank you. You may be seated. And we turn together to page 36 for the rest of the Shema. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzvah Hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'nibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshatam leot al yadecha v'hayu letofot b'neinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha lamahan tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti atchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. I have a reading that's not in your books, so feel free to just listen. I know the pain of slavery and the lash of the taskmaster's whip. I know the smell of the sea air on the road to the promised land, a breeze that resembles freedom. I can differentiate between the thunder of God and the murmur of the people at the mountain's foot. I know coming home to a place that had only been a promise, a dream. I know exile. I remember return. I know it happens again and again. I remember wandering, hoping, suffering, waiting, believing, suffering, believing. I know God. I know God. I know. Micha Mocha can be found on page 40. tilot oseh fala nora tilot oseh fala malchut haramu manacha okay ayam lifnei Moshe zeli anu ve'amru zeli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch leolam va'ed Adonai imloch leolam va'ed Yai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai yai dai 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 yai dai 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 V'nema kifad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. We turn together to page 43 and we read together at the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Yismachu can be found on the next page. Yismachu v'malchutcha shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu v'malchutcha shomerei Shabbat. V'korei oneg, v'korei oneg. Yismachu v'malchutcha shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu v'malchutcha shomerei Shabbat. Mekadeshei, Mekadeshei Shavi, Kulam Yisbehu ve'yitzamru metuvecha, Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. Ve'korei oneg, ve'korei oneg, Yismachu v'malchutcha. Shomerei Shabbat, Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. Ve'aretz bo, asita bo v'kidasho, Prandat yamim oto karata, zecher l'maseh Bereshit. Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. Ve'korei oneg, ve'korei oneg. Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. Yismachu v'malchutcha, Shomerei Shabbat. We turn together to page 46. Please rise in body or in spirit for the Amidah. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי hakol. Together on page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We continue silently to page 62. Please be seated when you are finished or when you feel ready. page 62 in the middle. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi vegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri Begoli. It's now time for Seder Kriyat HaTorah this evening. We turn together to page 245. Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding, for its value is greater than silver, its yield than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies. No treasure can match it. It's my pleasure to invite up Jennifer and Brian to open our Ark doors and Gail Small to carry our Torah this evening. Please turn to page 246 and we all rise. Just do one on either side. Open it right up. Thank you. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, udevar Adonai Yerushalayim. Page 248. Come on up so you can see the book. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromama Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai. Thank you. V'hagevura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hahod. Ki cho b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki cho b'shamayim u'va'aretz. M'cha Adonai hamamlacha, v'yamid naseh lechol erosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehakodsho. You may be seated. Now we're celebrating a bunch of things, not the least of which is our newly refinished ark, which has been restored to its former glory, as well as our chairs and I believe also the stand. So we are sprucing things up. Many thanks to Ron Ficote, who is a good friend of ours and poured a lot of love and elbow grease into this ark. And of course, thank you to Barbara Weinberg's husband, who was the original architect of it. So it's always nice to see it looking the way it's supposed to be looking. But we are also celebrating Rabbi Benjamin's 30th anniversary of his bar mitzvah. So it is my pleasure to invite him up for our aliyah this evening. Yeah, Amon Harav Binyamin ben Yaakov Bracha Aliyah. If you'd like to follow along with Rabbi Benjamin, you can actually turn in your prayer books to page 25. It is printed on page 25 of your Siddur. So we saved some paper today. Okay.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamrach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim Venatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
It's only been 30 years since I last looked at this, so we'll see how it goes. Vayetze Yaakov mi Be'er Shava, vayelech Harana, vayivga b'makom, vayalen sham kiva hashemesh, vayikach me'avnei hamakom, vayasem mirashotav, vayishkav b'makom hahu, vayachalom, vahine sulam, mutzav arza, v'rosho magia hashamayma. Vahine malachei Elohim olim v'yordim bo. Vahine Adonai nitzav elav vayomer ani Adonai Elohei Abraham avicha ve'Elohei Yitzchak v'ha'aretz asher ata shochev alecha lecha ednena ulzarecha v'haya zeracha ka'afar haaretz ufaratzta yama v'kedma safona v'negba v'nivrachu v'cha kol mishpachot ha'adama uvzarecha v'hine anochi imach ushmarticha B'chol asher telech v'hashivoticha el hadama hazot ki lo e'ezavcha ad asher im asiti et asher dibarti lach vayikatz Yaakov mishnato vayomer achen yesh Adonai bakom hazeh Va'anochi lo yadati, va'ira, va'yomer manora hamakom hazeh. En zeh ki im beit Elohim, v'zeh sha'ar hashamayim.
Give him a pen.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Eloheinu.
Baruch Ata. It really is a bar mitzvah. That's good. Yay. Baruch Ata.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nota betochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. You just did that to make the rest of us feel better.
Sure.
Mesha berach avatenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless you, since you have come to Torah for the honor of God and Torah. May you merit from the Holy One of blessing, protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, and from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessing and success in your every endeavor, together with all Israel. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you.
That's what we should have done.
I
Yeah.
thought you would.
Yeah. Matt, you're just way smarter than the rest of us.
Definitely not.
At this time, with the Torah in our midst, we think of those in our community who are in need of healing, whether it be a healing of body or a healing of spirit. If you are online, please feel free to put names in the chat. At this time, we are thinking especially of Wendy Alderman, Laura Bartleson, Kathy Bartlett, Tracy Bartlett, Sue Burkhammer, Neil Calder, Laura Cohen, Perrion Cohen, Alan Gordon, Stephen Gold, Margaret Haberlin, Marlene Harris, Harvey Higdon, Laura Jawad, Kevin Knox, Harav Miriam Bat Shifra V'Pinchas, Harav Miriam Ya'el Chaya Bat Sarah, Tim Ober, Ruth Petersky, Judy Ramos, Peter Ramos, Ray Riker, Shirley Retkovitz, Sarah Bat Chava, Marianne Schenker, Charlie Stuckey, David Torchman, Jessica Waddatz, Bobby Wells, and Usher Zalish. Of course, we're also remembering those who were affected by the coronavirus and the Jewish and other communities of the Ukraine. If there are others that you'd like to add to this list, please do so as my hand sweeps over you. Thanks. Yeah, Matt. For all the names that we've said aloud, and for the names that have been put in the chat, and also for the names that remain in our hearts, our song for healing can be found in the middle of page 253. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. It's my pleasure to invite up John Louie, and then Ramona. Do you want to help with dressing the Torah? Cool. Come on up. It's always good to have a helper. We turn to Vizot HaTorah, which can be found on page 252, and we all rise. This one's yours, kid. You got it? Just lift it up over the thing first. There you go. And now you can roll it out. I'll spot you. Vizot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biad Moshe. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai. How would I do this? Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai. Dai 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 dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. We turn to page 257 and we read responsibly. Come on over, John. When Torah entered the world, freedom entered it. The whole Torah exists only to establish peace. Its highest teaching is love and kindness. What is hateful to you, do not do to any person. That is the whole Torah. All the rest is commentary. Go and learn it. Those who study Torah are the true guardians of civilization.
Honoring one another and doing acts of kindness, making peace. Those are our highest values. The study of Torah is equal to them all because it leads to them all.
Let us learn in order to teach. Let us learn in order to do. Page 256. Can you open up the art first? Ki lekachtot natati lahem Torati al ta'azovu etzayim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar דרכיה דרכנו וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה Chodesh Yomenu, Chodesh Yomenu, Kekedem. You may be seated. Thank you both. It is my pleasure to do something tonight and invite up Matt Lakoff to give our Devar Torah this evening. I'm going to use this as a shameless plug. If you have opinions about our Torah that are backed up by text and you would like to express them, please let us know. We are always looking for multiple points of view. Matt is our, you're 4th and 5th grade this year, right? Matt is teaching our 4th and 5th grade students in religious school this year, and the best class, yes. And our, no one's going to argue with you on that one. And our Hebrew readers. So Matt is very learned and excited to talk to you this evening.
I just want to say a hearty mazel tov to the bar mitzvah boy. Although I have to say, you omitted the version where we do the woo.
It's true. I should have done
It's a special day.
Sorry.
Okay, so in this parsha, we get a couple different significant scenes from the Torah. Jacob dreams of the ladder to heaven with angels going up and down it. And then God makes more promises about how numerous Jacob's descendants will be. Then Jacob tries to marry Rachel by working for her father Laban for 7 years, gets tricked into marrying Leah instead, and then does another 7 to actually marry Rachel. Then we get a whole anthology on Jacob begetting all of his children with 4 different baby mamas, Leah, Rachel, and their servants Zilpah and Bilhah. Then Jacob does some creative animal husbandry so that he can get the best of Laban's flock and gets the hell out of Dodge before Laban can realize what he's done. Rachel steals Laban's idols. Laban gives chase. Jacob tells him off for his more than a decade of abuses. This parsha is full of really interesting ideas, and because I couldn't decide which theme I wanted to really do the most, I'm just going to run through like some interesting things from all of it. First, in Jacob's dream, after he sees the ladder, and it wasn't necessarily a ladder, it may have been a slope, ADA approved, of course, or a stairway to heaven. Thank you, Led Zeppelin. In Jacob's dream, God appears beside him and promises, I will protect you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. To me, this sounds like a finite relationship. God will protect and be with Abraham and his descendants until they are brought back to wherever Jacob was lying asleep. After that, there's no promise of God's continuing presence. In a chavruta I've been doing with a friend, we talked about how God seems to frequently be absent and only pops in every once in a while, Deus Ex Machina style. We questioned how this could be if God was omnipotent and omniscient. To me, it seems like God has other stuff to do besides hang out with the humans. I don't know what that other stuff might be, but it is interesting to think about. Next, in their introduction, Rachel and Leah are described as such. Leah had weak eyes. Rachel was shapely and beautiful. The Talmud states that Leah's eyes are impure. In last week's Parsha, we talked about Rebekah's ability of discernment and how she could see which of her sons was meant to be given the birthright. Is there a connection here? I don't know. There's something about sight in these portions that I would really like to dig into in the future, but I have no idea what it means. Next, Jacob goes through an entire wedding procession and wedding night with Leah, thinking she's Rachel. One has to wonder why Leah would have been okay with that. Was she that desperate to be married? Did she just want Jacob? Was there a rivalry between the sisters? Or if she was made to do this by her father, did she tell Jacob when they were alone? The big question, why didn't he know until the morning after? Surely their voices were different. And if he knew all along, what does that mean about their relationship? How did Leah feel about Jacob following their marriage literally immediately after their marriage week was done, with 7 more weeks of labor to get Rachel, the one he actually wanted? The Torah says that, seeing that Leah was unloved, God opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. I see a similarity here between these two and the story of Hagar. Women did not have a lot of power in this society. Their main source of security after getting married and leaving their parents was bearing sons. A lot of the stories of the matriarchs were intensely political plays for power via pregnancy. In fact, the lines that follow detail exactly how this power oscillates back and forth. 2 sisters shrewdly fighting for Jacob's favor, even forcing their servants to get pregnant on their behalf. In spite of how messed up all of that is, I have to feel for Leah. She was less beautiful, less beloved, flawed in ways her sister wasn't. Her father knowingly put her into an extremely vulnerable position, and she must have lived in fear that Jacob would cast her out like Hagar as the unloved, unwanted first wife. How many of us feel that way? Terrified that we will be outcasted by those we love and depend on. These fears are still realized today. To share an anecdote, when I was in high school, my dad took me to a weekly trans group therapy session at the local LGBT center down in Vegas. I was the only one there that wasn't homeless. So I'd like you to consider who you may have withdrawn your favor from, who has been outcasted by all of us in our society. How many people do we know who are mentally ill, struggling with addiction, queer, or even just a little ignorant? How can we bring them back into the fold and build them up into the pillars of the community that they can be? And finally, we get Laban, the abusive employer, and Jacob, the malicious compliance worker. Jacob gets to tell him off at the end, which is immensely cathartic for me because I'm a retail worker myself. But only because Rachel pulls one over on her dad by sitting on the idols she stole from him. Honestly, I think that explains why Jacob prefers her over Leah. Whereas Leah seemingly obeys Laban even to the point of pretending to be someone she's not, Rachel has issues with authority. An interesting point, when Laban catches up to Jacob and tells him off for leaving, he says, "You did not even let me kiss my sons and daughters goodbye." What sons? Safaria notes that this could refer to grandchildren, but again, what grandkids is he talking about? I think the Torah is just weird about gender, but I don't know. And when Jacob finally retorts, he lets it all out. He tells Laban how he worked for 20 years with perfect work ethics and a great skill in animal husbandry. Heat ravaged him by day and frost by night. He slept little. He tolerated inconsistent wages and Laban's outright lying. And only then does Laban give in. Anything I can say about workers' rights or business ethics has already been said much more eloquently by someone else. I mean, just watch Fiddler on the Roof. So instead, I'll end with something as starkly real and concrete as I can. We know that many of the companies that seek our business are deeply unethical. Chick-fil-A, Hobby Lobby, and Salvation Army do real immense harm to the LGBT community. Companies like Kellogg's and Starbucks are unlawfully union busting and mistreating workers. How many starting jobs require you to be able to lift 20 pounds just to screen out any potential workers with disabilities? How many jobs are required to be in person when they could be done remotely? How many of you are grossly underpaid or given menial benefits for the work that you do? The world is getting less livable, and your children will not have the opportunities that you or your parents may have had. What can we do about this? It's easy to feel hopeless, but like Jacob, we're not powerless. Jacob's story is one we all know. As Jews, we need to show up for the people who need it. Are we being compassionate towards workers, especially during the holiday season when they are going through it? Are we listening to the needs of the burger flippers and the grocery baggers, the sanitation workers, and the undocumented laborers? Let's lead with kindness this week and every week after that. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Matt. Just go ahead. Thank you. God, it feels weird. I'm like looking for my sermon. We turn together to page 282 and we all rise for the Aleinu. Oh, it is my pleasure to invite up. Bonnie's like, you're not going to forget me. Bonnie, Martin, and Rose Peterski to come on up. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, la'tei tefillah liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goralenu kechol ha'munam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 285. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Page 287. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yireh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. Thank you. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed the earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. If you are online, please feel free to put the names of your beloved dead in the comments. At this time, we are remembering the more recent deaths of Aaron Yosef, Arthur Rubin, Barbara Gonzalez, Setsuko Olenichik, Hank Froelich, Jenna Deborah Denise Cassell, Will Spiegelman, Leonard Fusari, James Holly, Ken Hecht, Roberta Small-Reish, Edward Gingold, Cookie Javinsky, Carl Weinberg, Al Grossman, Jeff Blank, Richie Zorn, and Catherine Linsky Foley. If there are other names that you'd like to add, please do so as my hand sweeps over you. We're also commemorating the art sites of Esther Garfinkel, Jean Langer, Marshall A. Kotlicki, Claire Fox Wolpe, Toots Lewis, Jerry Tamkin, Lillian Wilt, Joe Bass, Emily Birnbaum, Stanley Browdy, Debbie Flomenhoft, Aaron Finkelstein, Rosella Eisman, Lilia Montoya, Norman Weiss, Louis Shallett, and Richie Luskin. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. We turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. If it is your custom, please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayachon uvyomachon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach leolam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Da'amiran me'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all who mourn. And together we say, amen. You may be seated. John, would you be willing to come up and do announcements for us? Debut your president's role once again. I have a whole sheet for you. It's all bullet pointed. You're good.
Very good.
All you have to do is be your charming self. It's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is perfect. And I want to start by thanking our service leader, Rabbi Zober, and congratulating again Rabbi Zober on his 30th anniversary. And thank Rabbi Zober for the Torah chanting. And I want to especially thank Tova McGilvray for running the tech tonight. It's a tough job, and we really appreciate it. And I got to thank the Rabbi Zober for the Goneg hosting as well. We need more volunteer Torah chanters. And so just contact any one of the rabbis or Marilyn Roberts if that might interest you. And we need, as I just said, more live stream texts. So contact Michael Gordon if you'd like to fill that in. It's not that difficult. You just need to know, you need to run through it a couple of times and then you'll have it. Now we have, for those of us who are here, we have a to-go neg, and so challah and juice are in the lobby as you leave the synagogue. And then for those of you who are online, you can participate in Zoom, which is following, and sinireno.org/live has the details for participating in that. There's Torah study via Zoom tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. They're starting at Genesis 49:14, and that's at sinireno.org Torah study. Now, coming up through the 22nd of December, the Social Action Committee is collecting coats, sweaters, caps, gloves, that kind of winter clothing for residents at our place. Bring your donations right here. There's a box in the lobby. If you have any questions, contact Mary Cates at 415-630-3431. On the 4th of December, so that's this Sunday, it's the North Tahoe Hebrew Congregation's 20th anniversary celebration. Your announcements have the RSVP details. And our Hanukkah celebrations start on the 8th, so that's next.
18th.
Right. The Torah for Tots Hanukkah celebration is on the 8th at 4:15 p.m. That'll only be in person. So the 18th through the 25th is officially Hanukkah. The 21st, we're having a game night here at 7:30 p.m. The 22nd is Not Your Bubby's Hanukkah. It's a cooking class with Chef Jane, and I've been to her classes. It's well worth it. Let's crowd it up. I plan on it. There is a fee, and you can get more info and RSVP at sinireno.org. The Hanukkah Shabbat services, the 6th candle, are on the 23rd, and that'll start with a 5:30 Tot Hanukkah service, which is in person only, and there will be an in person only, of course, Hanukkah potluck at 6, and then the Hanukkah Shabbat at 7:30, which will be live streamed. And then on the 25th, there's a community 8th night Hanukkah celebration with a kosher Chinese dinner at Temple Emmanuel. So that, of course, requires an RSVP. You can just email the administrator at renoemmanuel.org and sign up for that. These community events are really great. The Sinai Library is continuing the Beyond Words book club. They still need members to join the book club. You can sign up online for that. There's also the Restories program going on, sponsored by the library. They're loaning and delivering books to homebound members. So see more information about that. And thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you, John. And I just want to make a plug for the to-go-neg this evening. We are doing a real Cleveland oneg. So if you are somebody who has ever been Cleveland adjacent, you're going to notice the coconut bars. We have both gluten-free coconut bars and regular coconut bars, all of them handmade by Rabbi Benjamin, who insisted on them because he needed Cleveland with him tonight, just like at his original bar mitzvah. So, Jeff, do you have something?
Sorry. For about the fifth year in a row, Temple Sinai has volunteered or honored to be accepted to bring Christmas Eve dinner.
Jeff, come up here. So the microphone so that people online can hear you.
Hi. For several years, Temple Sinai has volunteered to bring Christmas dinner or Christmas Eve dinner to the young people at Eddie House. Eddie House is the facility and program in Reno for homeless young people in the age of about 18 to 24. It's grown and it's done very well, and they're very appreciative of our efforts over the years, donating clothing and food and money and other things. This year on December 24th, we're going to provide them with a luxurious Christmas Eve dinner for about 40 of the young people and about 10 of the staff there, where we could use a little more money to be sure that we can pay for all of the goodies that we have promised them. You can contact Mike in the office or just make a contribution to Temple Sinai and earmark it for the Eddie House Fund, EDDY, the Eddie House Fund. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Lots going on here this winter, and stay tuned as soon as December is over, because many people's secular lives are very busy in December. But as soon as December is over, we're going to have all sorts of fun things like Purim Spiels coming up and Tu Bishvat Seders coming up. So stay tuned. SinaiReno.org is going to have all of your information. All right, our final song can be found on page 361. Did I get that right? 321, sorry. I think my printout is from the weekday one. I don't know. Everything has too many page numbers. Every edition has different page numbers. It's terrible. Adon Olam Hashem Allah Herem Kol Yetzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'Chefsoto Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Acharei Tivlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yeya B'Tifara Adon Olam Hashem Allah B'Terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'Chefsoto Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Acharei Tivlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yeya B'Tifara Vehu Echad V'Ein Sheni Lahamshil Lo Lahachvira V'li Reshit V'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'Hamisra Vehu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Havli V'yetzara Vehu Nisi Umanos Li V'natkosi B'yom Mekra Vehu Echad V'Ein Sheni Lahamshil Lo Lahachvira V'li Reshit V'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'Hamisra Vehu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzur Havli V'yetzara Vehu Nisi Umanos Li V'natkosi B'yom Mekra Adon Bi'ato Akid Ruchi V'yeti Shan V'ha'imra V'im Ruchi Gevi'ati Adonai Li V'lo Ira Bi'ato Akid Ruchi תישן והעירה במרוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא יירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי עת נעשה בחפצו אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי עת נעשה בחפצו אזי מלך שמו נקרא. If you'd like to follow along with Page Notzi, please turn to page 6. 5 or 6. Rabbi Benjamin, why don't you join me up here? Go grab your cup. I only have so many hands. I do give orders. He takes them very well. Successful marriages take all kinds, right?
Let's just pray now.
Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'vratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki banu bacharta ve'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. If you're online, please join us on the Yisma Zoom. If you are here in person, please pick up your to-go neg. And please remember, do not take your mask off until you get out of the building. Thank you very much.